When can I have the opinion of the crowd? When can I love the episode everyone loves? And when can I hate an episode with everyone else? Well, not this time it seems. I don't really like this episode, but I don't hate it either. That much.
We're all going to the Rainbow Falls Traders Exchange!
Now we are at the museum.
I know.
We have 3 stories here, separating the main 6 into groups of 2. The main focus is on Rainbow Dash chain training some stuff. With little less screen time but with equal significance, here's Pinky's and Twilight's book trading dilemma, and last but not least, his Rarities and Applejack's separate adventure that also kind of has a lesson, but it's mostly there as a comic relief plot. Most people disliked Scott Sonneborn's previous episode, Some Pony to Watch Over Me, so they saw this as an opportunity for him to redeem himself. But since I like STWM, I just simply looked forward to this and expected a light-hearted, funny episode with a shitty, nonsensical ending. And in a sense, I got it. But it wasn't the same. For simplicity's sake, let's talk about every plotline individually. First, let's see the longest one. Rainbow's and Fluttershy's quest for the first edition book of Daring Do and the Tree of Nothing. Looks like most of you know this story from Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time. I feel so old. But let me tell you this story is extremely old and basic, and I know it from a folk tale. It goes like this. A hen swallows a berry and she starts to choke, so she asks the rooster to get some water. He goes to the well to ask for it, but the well wants a green branch. It's a stoner well, okay? So the rooster goes to get a branch from the tree. He's a dick too, and he wants something in return as well. Long story short, the hen dies by the time the rooster gets the water. The lesson is that you can't trust stoner wells. I heard it a million times in my childhood, and every time someone had to tell a story, this was the one they told, because it's incredibly easy to make up. You can switch around some characters and objects, and you can basically make up the story while you're telling it. I don't see the effort in the writing, and there aren't any creative twists to it either. The problem when you know where a story is going is that you feel like you've seen that part of the episode before, so during your first viewing you take the story out of your enjoyment. The episode has no longer a story because you've already seen it and it no longer interests you. And if it's a story that you don't like, if you feel like the episode is trying to tell a bad and lazily written story, then that just makes it even worse. And that's the case here. There are some good jokes here though, like the sexy chicken picture and when we can see Rainbow and Fluttershy in the background during the Rarijack distractions. I appreciate these and I think they help the episode a lot. There aren't many good jokes this episode, and without these, the episode would have been just boring for me. Our second story follows Pinky's and Twilight's day on the trade market. Pinky decides to stay with Twilight to help her get some precious items in return for her books that she doesn't need anymore. Why would she do that? Why does she care? Doesn't she have something she wants to trade for? Apparently not. But then, why was she so excited in the beginning of the episode? Is she just here because of Twilight? She was pretty into the idea that she can accompany her on this royal business. Maybe she just really wants to be with her and support her. With that said, I don't think she does a good job at it though. That little filly really wanted all of Twilight's books. You don't see that often. They should have given everything to her, and it would have been a nice lesson about the importance of spreading knowledge and education. But after that, she actually starts to get a lot of people into wanting the books. And I don't really know what she wants for them actually. What does she expect? What can she possibly get? Will Twilight need those things? Hardly. But whatever, Twilight starts to remember the beautiful memories that are attached to these books.
This is the one I was so absorbed in the day Spike decided he owed Applejack a life debt.
This is the book I was reading when I told you you were jealous of Gilda even though I've never seen her before. This is the book Spike ruined and he felt so guilty about it, he ran away and almost died. How could she not hang on to these remarkable heartwarming moments? I think there are certain objects that are worth holding on to. But they should remind you of, happy stuff. And just because an object loosely reminds you of something that happened on the same day, you shouldn't treasure it the same way you treasure that very event. If you get a gift from someone important to you, well, I understand, but this makes no sense. And think about it. Spike, who is a dragon, who has in his very nature to hold on to stuff, he was able to trade away his comic book. And Twilight was unable to do that with her own stuff. What kind of example is that to Spike? Who's the real monster here? Now Rarity's and Applejack's fart on the other hand was a pleasant surprise. It started out with both of them saying that they don't need anything specific and the stuff they brought is expendable. They offer for each other that if one of them finds something she really likes, they will put together all their stuff and trade for that. So even at the start they state that it's enough if just one of them gets something they like. And when the conflict hits in, it doesn't matter that what the other wants is useless in their eyes. They just want the other to be happy. And later the whole thing turns into a friendship contest, and I didn't expect that at all. In the end, they decide to trade all of their stuff for something the other would like, with some backhanded insults. But I don't think that's bad. Rarity and Applejack have a mutual respect for each other, but they both know that Applejack doesn't care about fashion and Rarity doesn't care about farm life. And they are both okay with that. And since they are friends, they want the other to be happy. But at the same time, they still let the other know that it was a sacrifice from them in some way. It was a selfish and a selfless act at the same time, from both of them. And these things happen between friends all the time, and seeing it here was really relatable for me and also hilarious. So, this story was my favorite out of the 3 main plotlines in this episode. Now let's look at the controversy in this episode. People think there is a controversy in this episode. I don't get it. What's the problem? A character is in a wheelchair. So, he shouldn't be. The other characters should treat him differently. That could actually be the plot of an episode, but the story here is completely different. He's a side character. Only you bronies can come up with this kind of stuff. You don't see the TMNT fans complaining about Sir Malachi the Sparrow Wizard. Oh look, he only has 1 leg. I have a problem with that they show that, I guess. Wait, is this about the derpy thing again? Just let's move on. Rainbow trades Fluttershy away as a slave. So funny. It's wrong. It was a wrong thing from her to do. Slavery is not a good thing and you shouldn't support it. So don't buy the products of Nestle because they have child slaves on their cocoa fields in Africa. Rainbow realizes her mistake almost immediately, and she was always a hothead, so I'm not surprised at her. You know who I'm surprised at? Twilight.
I've heard what you both have to say, and I'm sorry, Rainbow Dash, but my hooves are tied. You said it was a fair trade.
What? She doesn't even look upset. She does have the power to fix the trade. She's a freaking princess. Her best friend is about to be sent away for months and she acts like it's nothing. Doesn't she have feelings? How can she be this calm? I told you she was a psychopath. Useless cunt. Rainbow Dash has to fix everything. But with that said, I think the book reading pony just realized that what she's doing is wrong. She can't force a person to leave her friends and all her responsibilities behind. She suggested the thing in the first place. She was just as guilty in this trade as Rainbow Dash, if not more so. Lastly, a few words about this trade market. I love the idea. For just one day it can be fun, and I'm sure I would look around. Also, the whole thing looks like a convention. Almost every table has a theme to it. There's one for antique chickens, one for Discord lamps, and one for Daring Do books, and so on. The book trading pony even cosplays as Daring Do, so the setting of the episode is certainly a positive point. But in the end, although there were a few good and enjoyable parts here, and I do appreciate them, the bigger parts, namely Rainbow Dash's and Fluttershy's story, was boring and repetitive for me. So out of Scott Sonneborn's 2 entries to this series, I still prefer the first one. Tradia gets a 2.4 out of 4.